There it is. There we go. Wow, man. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ramble Presents Good Willow Hunting.
That's right.
To those who don't know, this is a show in which Eddie and I force Cody to watch movies
that he should have seen.
He should have seen.
He should have seen. There's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
Well,
no
for
excuse.
most of them.
For most of them, should have seen.
Heat,
no
you should have
excuse.
seen Heat.
You should have seen Heat, and that's what we're going to start with in our Val Kilmer 2-pack today.
Yeah.
We're going to start 2-pack for next week. We're going to start with Heat, the
Michael Mann film.
Michael Mann film. Very exciting. The first movie, I believe, ever which De Niro and Pacino had screen time. They're both in Godfather 2.
They never
had a scene
scene,
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So this is the first one.
And what a scene they had.
What a scene they had in the
Heat.
diner
Yeah.
in Heat. So, Cody, let's talk about Heat. Michael Mann's 4.5-month-long movie.
It is very long.
It is a long.
Back when there's VHS tapes, it was a double.
It was a double VHS
Double
when you
VHS.
brought that one home. I saw that in the theater, I think, 3 or 4 times.
I saw it once in the theater. I didn't go back because that was too long.
I really liked it.
I liked it
when
too,
I saw it,
and then
really,
I bought
really
it and I watched it a lot at home. But I only saw it once in the theater.
It was, of course, famous for one of the most intense shootout scenes ever.
Yeah, downtown LA, which is
bank.
based off of a real
which
shootout, in
is
downtown
crazy.
LA.
That was fucking. But I noticed one thing before we get too much. I think I noticed an odd continuity error in that shootout.
Yeah.
From such a high budget, detailed film.
Yeah.
You see a cop who gets shot like 4 times, falls over, and then like 30 seconds later he's like picking himself like, wait, how'd this guy live? And how is he just fine? I thought that was the only.
Was it a T-1000?
Maybe it was a. I mean, God knows how many things were cut out of that movie to get it to 3 hours. So maybe there was a T-1000
if you
subplot.
saw 3 hours on the screen,
yes,
Michael Mann shot
17.
Probably. I mean, his director's cut's probably 6.
6 hours of that movie, and maybe there is a T-1000.
There might be a T-1000, maybe a crossover.
Was that Natalie Portman's first major thing, or was that before or after The Professional? That was after The Professional? It was a Professional and then Heat, right? Yeah, that was, man. All right, so let's get it. Cody, your thoughts on Heat. What did you like about Heat?
Well, I like the so I think the interesting thing about it, I think I messaged this to you, Jerry, was that it felt like a very 70s movie to me.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
You know, just the plot line of it, the sort of like cops versus bad guys type of thing.
The guy, the robber going for that one last score, right? Like with De Niro, like, this is it, I'm out after this. Yeah.
Yeah, so it felt very 70s, and to me, it looked kind of old when I was watching it, which was kind of surprising because it's only, like 25 years old.
It?
And
95?
95?
Yeah, 95, and it looks older than that for sure.
It really does.
It's weird to see, for me as someone my age, to see like Pacino and De Niro fucking in a movie. Like it just feels like watching your grandparents.
See, I grew up with Sea of Love, so I'm totally
right. Yeah,
fine.
we knew all that.
I saw him fuck way before Heat.
But I get what you mean. I can see that. Yeah,
yeah.
That'd be like if there's a movie where Ernest Borgnine just lays pussy, and Eddie and I are like, what?
What, the guy from
Airwolf is getting laid? Hannibal, George Papard's fucking getting blown. Yeah, it'd be weird. I can see that.
I can see that. I never thought of that, but yeah, I can see that.
I don't want to see George Burns fuck anybody, even when he was younger. Like,
I mean, that would have had to been like 1920.
22, some silent movie.
A silent porn.
Oh, fuck. God. Yeah. So,
So that was strange.
Yes.
I think that the shootout scene, like you said, was super intense. And really good. Even though it was just like, I guess they don't have to like reload their guns at any point.
Ever, right? I think Val Kilmer
bullets.
puts one clip in one time. I think Val Kilmer.
You just assume between in other cuts he's reloading.
He's reloading. But I love the way it was shot too. How they're all home free, and I love the way Val Kilmer goes from that smile to oh fuck, and I love that's how good he is. He has sunglasses on. You don't see it in his eyes. You see it in his mouth. Remember that? He's like smiling, and then he oh fuck, and he sees the 2 cops.
But just the use of sound in that scene.
Oh man,
is
Jesus
extraordinary.
Christ.
It's one of the best gunfights ever, just for its use of sound.
Yes, it's so intense. It's so jarring. Like fuck, this is. And I also love the weird Silence of the Lambs connection in that movie because Buffalo Bill plays the cop that gets killed at the shootout.
Right.
The guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
And then the guy on the wheelchair who tells De Niro about the bank heist, he was the killer in Michael Mann's Manhunter, which is based on the first book, Red Dragon.
Yeah.
He played the Tooth Fairy killer. So it was kind of cool seeing that little weird Thomas Harris
Michael Mann
novels.
likes using a lot of the same people.
He does.
In his
Yeah,
films.
he really does. And you can,
It has a great cast of random '90s people.
It really does. You got Bubba from Forrest Gump. You got Tone Loc, Hank Azaria, Wes Studi. Well, he used him in Last of the Mohicans too. And for Ashley Judd, it was just like
What's who?
Jeremy Piven.
Yeah.
Jeremy. This was a '90s all-star team. This was like a '90s movie, right? It was just
what's it? Pedro Serrano from Major League.
Yeah, the guy.
Dennis
that's right.
Haysbert.
Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah.
That was one of his first major things past Major League, right? Was that guy? That was it. Was it really was. It had that. It was.
So performance-wise, I think De Niro's great as usual.
Yeah.
Pacino is like right on the cusp of being too much.
This is where Pacino started becoming Pacino as a character.
It was way.
De Niro hadn't done it yet because De Niro hadn't done Meet the Parents yet.
Right.
Or Analyze This.
Analyze This.
He hasn't done that yet. That's when he he started playing
the parody of himself in a way.
Pacino was starting to etch into that category.
Because it comes out of the blue. Because he's normal cop, then he interrogates Tone Loc's cousin. Give me all you got! Give me all you got! You're like, what the
And you got your head
happening?
all the way up it!
Yeah,
Like-
you got a great ass!
Yeah, so that's where he starts going into you know what? I can make a lot of money playing a character myself.
Right.
And does it have to be at 11 every single scene?
Every time. You know what I thought was his best scene was the, obviously heavy spoilers, but after he finds Natalie Portman, who tried to kill herself, that scene where, God, that was so harsh to watch when Diane Venora's character is almost begging, do you think we could work out again? He's like, nah, you don't want me. We're done. And then he was so subtle there. And I thought the one great high energy thing he did in that scene is this girl is half dead, but he's done his part. And then his real duty hits. He gets the page that they know where De Niro is, and he just sprint like a kid who's about to run downstairs to open up Christmas presents. The way he just he's almost smiling as he's running down those steps to go get in the car and hopefully catch De Niro. I thought that was one of his best parts of that movie. Was that
for sure. I think I've talked about this before, maybe on this podcast, for sure on my other podcast, but I really like characters in movies who can't help themselves, have no control over, they just have this instinct that they have to do something and they cannot get out of their own way.
I remember in the theater the collective groan when De Niro's like, "No, I got to take care of something real quick," and everyone's like, "What are you doing?
You're free.
You got it." And what I love about that, Cody, is he spends the whole movie running his mouth about don't get attached, walk away, and he falls for it. He's attached to getting revenge on the Waingro guy. He can't let that go. He can't walk away. It's funny how he preaches it the whole movie, and he does it with the girl at the very end when it's too late.
Yeah.
But he can't just say fuck it and go.
Nope.
It has to go.
Well, most of the times when great characters are doing that, when they're saying something, they're projecting their own
their own
things.
insecurity.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It was that was so fucking God damn, that was
And I found his character to be the most interesting. I did have issues with it. I think primarily and I think that it's not super economical with its character development, in that it's a 3-hour movie and really the only characters we get to know are De Niro and Pacino. I don't think that there's even though Val Kilmer's in it, I don't think we get anything about his character at all.
Very subtle. He's the only one where they just because of. But you just need Ashley Judd's affair with Hank Azaria to excuse how they bust him.
Yeah.
But that's the only time they kind of dip into his life. I think.
Can you imagine Ashley Judd choosing Hank Azaria over
Val
Kilmer in his prime?
In his prime.
Now you'd probably take Hank Azaria. Yeah. But in his prime,
Simpsons residual money.
That's a big step
Maybe he had
down.
that Simpsons money.
He only had like 5 years of Simpsons
That's
money
true.
at that point.
That's true.
Val Kilmer's off the heels of Tombstone, and now he's doing this. He's having a Val Kilmer seance, and she's taking Hank Azaria.
That's true.
Who hasn't even done the Birdcage yet?
Not even done. No, you're right. That was the very poor choice.
I mean, what the fuck? Because Ashley Judd is smoking in that movie.
She was gorgeous. Yeah, that was
Not a great performance acting.
No, it was not at all though. Yeah, you're right.
But she didn't have to.
She didn't have to. It was.
looked-
But yeah, there really wasn't. You only because, and that's the thing. Like when the Buffalo Bill character Bosco gets killed, doesn't really have any kind of emotional punch at the during the.
Yeah.
You know, when Tom Sizemore gets killed, it's not. All I'm worried about is I hope Pacino doesn't actually accidentally hit that kid he's holding.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, oh no, I hope
Yeah,
he
you
doesn't
don't really
die.
get to meet the crew.
Yeah,
Right.
There's no.
But there's
like,
time to do it. Like if you're gonna put 3 hours in, you don't want to meet like Danny Trejo a little bit more.
Right,
more
you
depth.
just don't get like. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Like and it's funny, but the only time that Danny Trejo gets anything is the kind of comedy scene when De Niro's like, "Do you guys really want to do this?" And they all break down why, and he's just like, "Yeah, fuck it." You know, like that was it. But that was more interesting than any other, any other development.
I mean, maybe in the 8-hour director's cut, there is more depth into these
get to know the
characters,
guys.
and that's the stuff that he maybe decided to chop out.
Right.
But it's almost like what did he do with the time instead? Which is weird because it feels like it's 3 hours for sure, and you feel like there's stuff missing, but like what he could have possibly substituted things. I just don't know what.
Right. Right.
If I don't, I have to think about it a
Because
little
I
bit.
think because the problem with it is De Niro and Pacino do so well with their characters that you kind of end up after like the first 45 minutes, like, well, I don't really want to see anyone else. You know what I mean?
Well, you're kind of watching an acting class.
Yeah.
For most of that movie.
Yep. God.
But I feel like Michael Mann and his other, like Last of the Mohicans, I felt everyone that died in that movie.
Right. Right.
And a lot of people died in that movie. And the people that died there was a weight to them getting killed or sacrificing themselves or whatever happened. So, like when that girl at the end falls off the rocks because she doesn't want to go with them. And
brutal.
Like you felt that.
Yes. Yep. Brutal.
A lot of these deaths in Heat, I didn't.
There was no. You
don't really feel it.
You know, not
sure.
at all. Yeah, it
and
was.
And Last Mohicans was a much shorter film.
Right.
So he's capable of doing it. And I don't know why.
He just
didn't do it in this film.
Maybe he just fell in love with those two characters that he just had to just like.
Maybe in the final edits, like I can't lose any of this stuff with these guys because these guys are just.
Does John Voight play the best-looking white trash weirdo? Is that just an amazing white trash weirdo by John Voight?
Yeah, you could say it for any of his roles that he plays.
The shitty mustache.
The shitty mustache. The fucking hair.
We forgot Henry Rollins.
Henry Rollins.
As
that
the
was
90s cast.
why Henry Rollins as the goon.
Could you get De Niro and what's his face in a room today?
Henry Rollins?
No, John Voight.
Oh, probably
Could you
not.
see them in a room
There's
acting
no way.
in a scene?
De Niro would pop him.
As I'm saying, they're both beat the fuck out of each other.
Oh yeah.
Or De Niro beat the fuck out of Voight.
There'd be no way. No way.
That'd be an interesting scene to see.
Yeah, I mean and then even with Dennis Haysbert, the only character he's the only one you kind of feel for, but you feel more for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you feel more for her. Like
there's just no emotional legwork put into that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like he's just introduced as a character, and then he gets one scene where you get the idea that he's like trying to pick himself up.
Yeah.
And then he's fucking dead. Like there's just no, and it's just weird. Like take 5 minutes of Pacino preening and then like, put it into character development. Like there's ways to do that, especially if you're going to be a 3-hour movie but not develop any of your side characters.
It is fascinating, almost fascinating how he pulled that.
But
off.
do you think maybe that stuff was there and then the studio got the cut and like no,
this is crazy.
This is a Pacino. De Niro film.
We have to have them.
We don't care about anybody else, and the studio made the cut that way.
Maybe that could be. I mean, could be. I think. I remember the 2 times everyone groaned was when De Niro made the choice at the end, and then when you can only call him the Leon Lett of that Special Forces team in the 18-wheeler when he just sits down and De Niro hears his gun hit the side of the truck and he looks up like, what the fuck? That moving, remember that? That was a great scene. God, that was just so the stuff where, oh God, are they going to get busted is so intense and so well done.
Yeah.
I like even when that other guy
the use of suspense and editing and music, and I mean, it's all perfect.
I almost think that Mann may have like overstretched the story he was trying to tell a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like I think the love story between De Niro and the girl, I don't know if that ever pays off, because again, I don't know that the legwork is put in. You know, they have that scene at the diner where they get to know each other, and then it's just like a sex-based thing.
It was
like
weird. Yeah, there was no emotional thing, you know. And first of all, can we talk about Eddie and I talked about this? You know, when I first moved to LA, I worked at a bookstore. I could not afford a house that overlooked the entire city while working.
And doesn't she say like, "Oh, it's a little run down"?
Yeah, it's a little like, what the fuck?
My view of the valley is a little run down.
Yeah, here's all of it. Here's the entire city up on top of this hill. You know, me just clocking in at Walden
Maybe
Books.
we need to look into her past. Maybe the owner of that house is in a closet dead somewhere.
No shit.
And she's just squatting there. I have questions about that.
I have a lot of questions about that. But I only wonder if, and again, it's not fair to the characters, but it makes you wonder if her inclusion was simply just misdirection for De Niro's character, thinking he might not leave her when it came down to it.
Well, I mean, she's probably there to give the audience, okay, he's got a choice, you know, to make his choice more impactful to the audience.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just him getting away.
Him driving off in a car by himself.
And no one gives a shit. If there's no sort of like future with
Yeah.
anybody, the choice doesn't have as much weight.
I think most of the decisions in the movie serve that purpose to give Pacino and De Niro, like they just all funnel into those
everything
two characters.
serves the acting.
I mean, even the daughter's
Pacino,
suicide is attempted
That's
suicide.
to set up Pacino.
It's just to set up Pacino.
Everything serves both of them in this film.
Which again, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because they're both. Again, I think De Niro's really good. I think Pacino's like right on the cusp.
I know.
And it's really tough because I'm like, this is technically good, but my God, he needs to just dial it back like 10 to 15%.
If you replace both those actors with two lesser known actors,
it's a bad movie.
It's not that great of a movie.
No, I couldn't.
It's just
imagine.
a regular heist
Really
film.
it falls into that Castaway thing.
Yeah,
where if you put, again, Jesse the Body Ventura in Castaway. Wilson. Well, look, I'm going to get back to her no matter what, Wilson. Like that. Wilson! Well, he didn't even cry. Wilson didn't have what it took. You know, he just didn't. He folded.
He was supposed to stay on the stick.
He felt pressure.
I feel like he would have kept the plane from even crashing.
Right, yeah. How about I'm just holding on to the wing? And he's
how about if I become a wing?
He just puts his feet down to skate.
Right, yeah. He's like running really fast.
Everyone on my back. My lats are big enough. We can fly.
It'll be fine. There's no need to cry. Oh, man. It really is
a heist
movie.
film.
It's a heist film, but like the character
But like
development.
the heist doesn't really take up that much time.
That's what I'm saying, but like it's basically build up of it's a build up to the heist and the heist and then the build up to the getaway.
Yeah.
And it's all just acting scenes between De Niro and Pacino.
Yeah,
it's great to watch.
It's great.
It's phenomenal to watch as a person who loves watching great acting.
Right.
But as far as a film goes,
I think the second half is much better than the first half.
The setup takes a bit. It's like, all right, like because like you don't. In a way, I know it was still a good scene because it was so creepy, but you don't need Waingro killing the prostitute. You don't need Pacino showing up to that dead prostitute and dancing with the mom like he did with his wife, even though it's a different. Like we already know he's too committed to the job.
Yeah,
like that was almost overkill, and maybe you could have used those moments to develop some of the other people a little more.
That's a great point because Waingro ends up not being a consequential character whatsoever, but they spend a lot of time building him up as
he just serves as a foil for De Niro's. De Niro fucks up by going after him. That's really it. He's not. Yeah. What Waingro tried, Waingro rats out the bank heist, right, to Van Zandt, who then tells the cops. But like, it wasn't, it was all just again, everything but De Niro and Pacino were just little Lego blocks used to put their characters, in a different
to that final scene.
Yeah, to that final scene. Yeah, it was. That's interesting how that. Yeah, I wonder how they could have, because I would have liked to in a way I would have liked to have had more of a. Oh, good, when Val Kilmer makes it. Right? Like, it didn't even have the, thank at least this guy. Like, it was just kind of, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, all right, sure, he made it out.
You want that same feeling you had in Tombstone when you see him walking through the woods. And you're like, oh, fuck, yeah.
Fuck, yeah.
He's not really that sick.
Right, you want
that.
that.
Sort of, reveal
he made it.
of, fuck, he got out.
Right.
Good.
And there's a lot about his character that they don't. Like we were talking about, like he's got the fucked up face. He's got the elbow. Like what is going on here? Like something happened to this guy. Like
Frank Azaria fucked him up.
Yeah.
Hank Azaria fucked him up.
Had enough. He's gonna try to. It was just that was I didn't like that all kind of fell apart and
it looked like he was in a car wreck. And
right.
They never explained it.
They never explained what happened in the car wreck. It just but I mean like one thing that I do love is how every robbery was so slick. The way it was shot.
Yeah.
The opening that was just awesome. Even when they're trying to get the fucking metal material from that plant when they almost get busted. That was intense and cool looking, and of course the heist at the end was like fuck, like that was just so fucking crazy, like how they did that. That was awesome. All that was so fucking good. But yeah, I do agree. Like it, maybe a little bit of more time to the side characters because they're just okay.
Yeah, but like we said, everything in this movie served those two characters.
So. It really did. Like it
just didn't need to be 3 hours of serving them.
Right, right.
That was that's the mistake. Had it been an hour and 45, 2-hour movie,
right,
you probably wouldn't have missed that the side characters weren't.
Yeah, you wouldn't have cared if it was. Yeah,
absolutely.
But a 3-hour film, you're like, okay, that's
because you're still seeing them.
Yes,
you're still okay. You're still seeing.
It's just hard to have a 3-hour plus movie and it just serves the two main characters.
Yes, exactly. That doesn't. It doesn't go anywhere, like in a way with everyone else. Like at least it.
Unless it's based on a true story and there's a lot of actual historical facts
right.
to cover, then I get it. Or make up like in Braveheart.
Right.
Either way, I get the fact that you need time to put all that stuff into the movie. But this is just basically how can we get these two guys to the airport at the end?
At the end, so one of them kills the other, and that's it. Never going back. Like it was. Yeah, it was, and all that was great. All that was
all great.
So
I love
fucking
the movie.
Good. That scene at the diner was tremendous.
Yeah,
like I remember the build-up. Like the first time Pacino and De Niro have a scene together in a movie, and it was like, well, and it was so good because Pacino dials it back. Yeah. It's he matches. They're perfect. Pacino's a little bit more animated than De Niro, but he's not like you get killed walking your dog. Yeah. He wasn't doing any of that stuff.
Got a great ass.
Yeah, it was none of that.
Have you ever sat in that booth?
No, where was that at?
It's here. It's in the Valley.
Lancers? Where was that? What
Lancers?
What diner is that?
It's over by
was it Lancers or no?
There's several. There's the Bob's Big Boy is where Pedro Serrano was the chef. That's right there. The Bob's Big Boy.
That was Bob's?
Yeah.
No shit. That's funny.
The booth where they sat and did the scene wasn't Bob's. It was I think it was a different restaurant.
But it was a diner in the Valley.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
There's a little plaque on it.
No shit.
The scene from Heat was shot.
Oh fuck! I gotta. Well, not now, but maybe when in 2021 I'll go look for that
when we
place.
can indoor dine again.
Yeah, we'll go find it. Dude, that's fucking cool. I didn't know
Lancers
that.
is right there on the way to Empire.
Well, no, I don't know if they shot at Lancers.
I don't think
they
shot at Lancers.
Was Pulp Fiction Lancers? Was that the opening? Gosson Coffee. That when they was that
I don't
looks.
know if that was Lancers.
You walk in Lancers like, man, this looks like the Pulp Fiction thing. But yeah,
it
who
might
knows?
have been.
Yeah, that was fucking. There was a. Yeah, it's funny. It is weird how so much of it is great, and yet so much of it too is like, well, I kind of want to know more. Like what's his face, Bubba from Forrest Gump. He doesn't really do anything until the end with Ashley Judd and Hank Azaria when he's just telling Hank Azaria not to be an asshole to her. Like that's the only time he really does anything in that movie.
I think the big thing about it that maybe the reason why I look at it a little bit more critically, like Eddie was saying, is because it's so long. And I wonder if this was like maybe like a 2-hour, 45-minute heist movie about this, there would be no complaints about it. But when you start pushing that runtime and you're forcing the audience to sit there for, it's ultimately 2 hours and 50 minutes, you start picking it apart. And my opinion is that, so like, for example, like comedies, like Judd Apatow movies and stuff, those are like, 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes.
Right.
And if your comedy is over 90 minutes, you better have a really good reason why that is.
You can't have it go, dramas are longer. But, I mean, even, like, it didn't work 100%. But, I mean, even Endgame tried to serve all the, like.
Well, yeah, you had an hour for each act in Endgame.
Right, and it tried to get some story arcs completed and something.
I had 20 films to wrap up.
Right, and this one, that's what makes it all the more, I guess he just had these 2 Lamborghinis that I know you don't want to. No one wants to see the Fiat race. Let's just have these. But so make it maybe a little shorter, I guess. But I mean, it was just.
It just also shows the difference between De Niro and Pacino as actors too, where they're both really good, but but De Niro is like the king of subtlety, and so he's at like a 1 or a 2, but is just equally as good as Pacino, who's doing backflips and fireworks and shit.
That scene was so great. It was, you felt the intensity when Leon Lett sits down in the back of the moving truck, and you can see De Niro's expression through that little infrared camera they have on. That was just awesome. Like he just like, man, that was, and yeah, he is so like that scene is just so great when he walks into Amy Brenneman's fucking $50,000 a year apartment on the top of the hills, and he's like, it's what I don't do. I don't sell metals, And she's like, well, weren't your friends? They knew the risk. It rains, you get wet. Like, it was just, that was so great the way he, and then, oh God, that was just. But you see it a little bit too. That's what I love about it too, how subtle his character is, because he has that don't get attached to anything.
Yeah.
But he breaks it twice. He breaks it once to go save Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
You're right, like, because he could have just gone. Right? But remember, he runs back to grab Val Kilmer, and then he does it again to kill Wayne Gross.
To his demise. But again, that's those characters that project. They're always projecting their own thing,
right? Their own shit.
Much like our president.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah, it is interesting because if you look at it, De Niro really did everything he could to try to keep the band together, if you will. Like, I mean, he even has sympathy for Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
He thought he ratted him out, and he realized he maybe ratted him out. He got tortured, but he says, let me call a medic. Like, that doesn't help his schedule.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, if he's got to get the fuck out of there, that doesn't
That's going to hold him up for a little bit.
Right. He's going to have to go publicly make some type of phone call to get a medic, even if it's through, John Voight's channels. He's going to have to extend his get the fuck out of here time, right?
And he's willing to do that.
Right, he's willing to do it. He does Val Kilmer. He does it kind of for offers to do it for Danny Trejo. Yeah, that's what I loved about it. How he just, whereas Pacino, I think Pacino really was the guy who don't get attached to anything.
He had no attachments.
He
had his goal and that was it.
He had and it's funny. I love how you see it, like. And he is compassionate. He cares about Natalie Portman's character.
But not as much as what he really cares about.
Not enough to go,
and he's willing to let all that go to get to what he needs.
Like, her dad didn't take her to the museum? Well, I'll just take her tomorrow. There was none of that. It was like, oh, this guy doesn't give a shit about it. And he saves her life, right? I mean, of course he's going to – but that to him, that was I'm solving still some form of a problem
crime. There was no
crime.
love there.
Right. It was just, all right, I got this. Okay, and then – she's going to be okay? Oh, they got De Niro. Bye-bye. Yeah. I'm out of here. Like, it just, he really was that guy who drew zero attachments. Yeah. It was amazing. And it was funny.
And he's supposed to be the good guy.
He's supposed to be the good guy. And then De Niro even tells him, I won't hesitate, not for a second. But Pacino was the one who didn't hesitate. The minute he saw the shadow, he just kills him. Just boom, boom, boom. Like, that was really interesting how, De Niro's character got done in by him breaking his own code.
By the character he was trying to be. The person who really lived by that. Had he been Al Pacino, he would have gotten away with it.
Yep. It would have totally done it. And I remember, too, one of the great scenes, my favorite scenes in that movie, because you didn't expect it when you're watching it. But when De Niro fools him, and he has them all low. We got this exit over here. We got that exit. And then, like, they all come down. They're like, what are they looking at? And he's like, they're looking at us. Yeah. Like, that was a great. You just see De Niro, like, smiling, taking shots.
No, there's some great moments in the film. It just, it's a lot of film.
Yeah, it really is. And, we could have used a little more. Let's get to know the other guys.
Yeah. Or just less film.
Especially if you're going to kill all of them off.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you want those things, you want that to be meaningful.
Yep.
So,
yeah. And one more thing, that point about Pacino's character, even the other cop, the guy who really wasn't as well known of an actor as the others, the one who gets shot, he's got his arm in a sling.
Yeah.
I love how De Niro's like, how are you? And he goes, oh, I'll live. He didn't even say good. He goes, okay, but like, bye-bye. Like, I loved how that's how he really was what Pacino really was what De Niro was trying to be in that movie. And that's, of course, what does him in, right, is his own.
They're almost, not alter egos of each other, but they're what the other one is trying to be.
Right. And it does kind of go that way with Manhunter. Like, that's the whole premise is William Peterson has to become a psycho to catch the psycho. Like, that was, man, this will spoil it big time, but we'll still put it on a good Willow Hunting one day. But there's a director's cut of, have you ever seen Manhunter?
Yeah, a long time ago.
So there's a director's cut, and it looks awful because it wasn't fully, on modern Blu-rays, it doesn't look kind of grainy, but it's still, there's this scene where, they stop the Tooth Fairy killer, and William Peterson's character got so committed to stopping him, right? And that was the whole point of the movie, and the Silence of the Red Dragon novel is, that character Will had to become that, and there's this scene at the end, and it's fucking great, where it's a tacked on scene, but he just knocks at the door of a house, and these people answer, and it's the family that the killer was going to go after next. Right. And he's just standing there, and he goes, I just want to say hi. Like, he almost goes, you know what I mean?
He almost goes there.
Yeah, he almost goes. A great ending. Like, whoa, fuck. Like, no wonder this guy had to retire after he caught Lecter. Like, that is...
He almost becomes Lecter.
Yeah, he almost does it. Like, that was... And again, that was that line that, again, he kind of with the Michael Mann thing where he falls for, he almost falls for, but, his character tells Hannibal Lecter, who was, I think this time played, the first time he was played, what's a guy who was the general in X2, he's in everything.
Brian Cox?
Brian Cox. And he was so good as Lecter. And he has that line where he's like, how'd you catch me? You smarter than me? Is that what it is? You think you're smarter than me? He goes, no, I just had advantages. What advantages? You're insane. Like, that was, but he almost goes insane.
Right.
That is kind of that same theme that you feel in Heat of Pacino has to be a little bit of a criminal himself to go get these guys, right?
He's got to be a little cold-blooded.
Right, a little cold, a little
sociopathic.
Right.
To get what he needs
or
wants.
So, Cody, do you recommend Heat?
Yeah, I do. It's despite all of the criticisms, it's a really solid movie, and I think that that stretch of time that goes from like the heist up until the end of the movie is easily the best part, and it's worth it just for admission alone for the performances from De Niro and kind of Pacino.
Right. Real quick, how rough is Amy Brenneman's dating life going to be after that? That character.
Oh.
How rough is that going to be?
Oh.
I mean, she was ready to go to Fiji with this guy who after knowing
go back to her penthouse mansion that she has. So I think she'll survive.
That she can pay for on her
with her minimum wage
with
job.
her Walden Books gig. That's paying the bills for that. Well, there we go. Well, there we have another good Willow Hunting, baby. How about that?
Nice.
Join us next week as we continue this Val Kilmer.
Top secret.
Top secret. Shh, don't say anything. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you soon. Have a good one. Bye. All right.